What's going on, Brennan? Tar Heel, what's up? Y'all let me know everybody can hear me and stuff. We'll give it a minute or two, let everybody get filed in, and we'll get started. Starting just a few minutes late today. I was going over some NHL, lost track of time. And as soon as I get done with this, I've got to head into my office for a little while. So I'll be putting out plays from there. What's going on, Eric? Hope everyone's had a good start to the week. And a good Sunday, since I haven't talked to anybody since Saturday. I know plays have been good. We've been winning every day, so that's good. But outside of that, it's Tuesday, so everybody knows what that means. We'll do my updated college basketball top 25. We'll go into a recap of yesterday's plays. I have recorded a free play video. I just haven't posted it yet. I'll post it when I'm done with this. We'll kind of let everybody get filed in. All right, now people are starting to come on in. You know the routine, guys. Got to get to 50 likes if you want a free premium play. So everybody start smashing that like button. That way we can get there. Because we're only going to be live for an hour today. Because I'm already about half an hour behind. What's up, Scott? It was a good game. I'm glad LSU destroyed them. Our one play that we had on it was under 67.5, so saved by the hook. What's up, Bankroll? I liked how every Clemson fan in the world last night was like, oh, that's a bullshit targeting call. But listen, I gave, like when the Ohio State, when they got the targeting call in the semifinals, I agreed that per the rules it was targeting. Had that play happened in just a regular game, no way they would have called it on anybody. But because of the way that it was, they called it, and I was okay with it. Last night, he speared him. I mean, it was beyond targeting. But of course, that's Clemson fans for you. And then, of course, Dabo last night doesn't like to mention God unless he loses. And then he's holier than thou. I just have no respect for him. He's such a hypocrite. No, there's no doubt it was. No, the helmet isn't the rule. The rule is you cannot lead with the crown of your helmet. You basically cannot tackle somebody leading like you're going to spear them in any way, shape, or form. That is the college rule. And he speared that dude. He didn't even have to be involved in the play. That's what made it even worse. And I'm not saying that would have changed the trajectory of the game. Clemson would have still lost whether he would have been in there or not. I do think that was a blow to that team. Like, next play, boom, touchdown. I think that maybe that touchdown could have been prevented on that particular drive. But same thing would have been said when you take Ohio State. You take one of their top defenders out of it. That's like I said in my write-up yesterday. The numbers supported Clemson. But there's a reason that I couldn't back the numbers yesterday because they haven't proven to me that they can beat anyone. Truly beat them. I'm not talking about Ohio State because they didn't beat Ohio State. Had it not been for the officiating crew taking a touchdown back, even with everything they gave Clemson, Ohio State still wins the game. Might only be by a point, but they still win the game. And before that, you had beaten no one. LSU was beating top 10 teams every other game. So the numbers, again, the numbers can be deceiving, guys. I've said that 1,000 times. The numbers supported Clemson, but look at where they build their resume from. The resume is manufactured. You go out there and play nobodies every week, of course your numbers are going to be better than a team that has to play top talent every single week. I won't say they were the best team in college football all year. I would say they were second best. I mean, we're going to say they're the best right now. They won it all. But I truly think, as a whole, I think that Ohio State was the best team this year. But LSU was, certainly a close second. I still think Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback, but last night he saw what it means to face top competition and have your back against the wall. He's not used to that. He doesn't play top competition. And anytime that he has played above average or top competition, then, they've gotten out. Everything's gone just so perfectly where he's been on top and he hasn't had to come from behind. Give him Ohio State, okay, but I think he had a little help there. The only thing that I played in that game last night was I played the under 67.5, which is the game that I gave out. And then about 10 minutes before kickoff, I decided to take over 3.5 on Burrow's touchdown passes. And I took Trevor Lawrence rushing yards over. I don't ever play props, but they were staring me in the face last night. And I won both of them, so it was good. Scott, we can argue about it all day long. LSU was just flat better. They were just, in every facet of the game last night, they were better. I'll tell you this. People claim that Clemson's defense is better this year than it was last year. And on paper, it is. But Alabama trying to make those one-on-one plays last night when you had a man downfield being guarded one-on-one, Clemson wouldn't have let those plays happen. And they happened last night. They weren't it this year. They'll be back next year. They have another cupcake schedule in front of them. They'll have the best quarterback in the country in Trevor Lawrence, or one of the best, and they'll be right back there. They're already favored to win the 2021 national championship. They are already the favorite. March Madness don't really count only because it's so short. The next season that we've got is the big one. Baseball. I'm happy for Coach O, though. I think he deserved it. I really do. I really deserve it. If you just look at the teams, who they played, how they beat them, I still truly believe that Ohio State was the most complete team. Best quarterback this year, Joe Burrow, no question. Best coaching staff, LSU, Brady and Coach O, and I think that everything was just perfect for them this year. There were times when it seemed like luck might have been on the side. Maybe it was a little bit. But you don't just get lucky and go 15-0 and win the national championship like that. You got to be good. And they most certainly were that. And last night, they were about as close to perfect as you could be in a situation like that. And that's just not something that you see. Burrow came out very beginning. I don't want to say he struggled. It was almost like he was just trying to get a feel for everything. And once he got that feel, it was off to the races. It was almost like the Chiefs did against the Texans on Sunday, except Clemson's actually a good team. The Texans are not. Trevor Lawrence is actually a great quarterback. Deshaun Watson is not. So, big difference there, but I'm saying the outcome to be down by double digits and never once even flinch. Like, nobody was on the sidelines. Nobody was like overly pissed off and acted like it was getting to him. It was just like, all right, I guess we're going to have to work a little bit harder now. And hats off to him. Hats off to him. The only thing that I wish that we could have seen is I wish that we could have seen a true college career out of Joe Burrow. Instead of just a year. You know, like last year, okay. You know, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt when they're the true rookie. I would have liked to have seen what he could have done for 3 years. 3 full years. Get redshirted, be at a university. If nothing else, be a QB2 that gets to play at least some of the time, and then have 2 full years after he's kind of learned everything. I mean, because you got to think about it. He didn't even know the system of LSU last year. He had to kind of figure it out as he went. Didn't even get spring practice. He showed up in late summer. So, this year he finally figured it out and it worked out great. It obviously was the perfect system for him. One thing that I respect about that coaching staff is that the style of ball they played is not Ed Orgeron's style of football. But he adapted. He said, we've got a guy here that's talented, immensely talented. But it's not my style. So what do? Do I try to find somebody that fits my style and build a program that way? Or do I take what I have here, what I believe is top-tier talent that people are overlooking, and build around him? And he did the latter, and look where it got him. So that's not something that most coaches will do. And I'll say this. Coach O is about as humble and you can just tell he's so thankful. He doesn't have to say it. He doesn't have to parade how great of a person he is around like Dum Sweeney. You just know it. Like, you know that like this man is beyond just overwhelmingly thankful. He said he would do the job for free. I truly believe he would. You give him room and board and just food, I believe he'd do the job for free and be happy about it. They don't get more just... He's just a player's guy. And most coaches today are not. There you go, Tracy Johnson. Players coach O, players coach. Absolutely. Oh, I teared up terribly, Walter. Especially when, he lost. He hadn't lost in 29 games, so it's been 29 games since he wanted to be godly on us. And then, of course, he said, I just want to give thank you for God's grace for putting me here. Like, listen, I'm all for religion, but if you're either all in or all out, you hypocritical son of a bitch. I don't want to hear it. I'm so happy he lost. I like Trevor Lawrence. I'm not necessarily happy he lost. I'm happy he lost because of who he plays for. I think it's good for Trevor Lawrence that he lost. You couldn't give him a bigger moment to lose in or a bigger moment to quote unquote fail. You're not going to be a NFL superstar if you have not had your back against the wall. And I'm sorry, Trevor Lawrence is not. Last night he had his back against the wall. He got his teeth kicked in, and it's good for him. That'll make him more hungry next year. It'll make his draft stock go up. I think he'll play way better next year than he did this year. And I think that Clemson, unless Ohio State makes some adjustments, we don't know what they're going to do yet, I do think that there'll be teams out there that are better than Clemson overall, but Clemson, all they have to do is just kind of fill time for 13 weeks, win the ACC, and then they got to win 2 games. That's how they've won their championships thus far. That's how they'll win it again. So I most certainly think they can do so. But I think it'll be good for Trevor Lawrence, the fact that he lost. I really do. If he would have won this one, then knowing that he's going to come in next year without having to worry about a Joe Burrow, without having to worry about a Chase Young, without having to worry about things like that, without having to worry about a Tua, he could essentially play for 3 full seasons without a loss and 3 national championships, be considered the greatest college quarterback who played for the greatest team ever. And then he goes to the NFL, and sure as the world, he would fail. No, I think Mr. Matt Jones or whatever his name is, I think he'll do it. I certainly didn't see anything wrong with the way he played when he had to take over. Anybody playing for Nick Saban is probably good enough to be a starter for the next 10 years on any other squad. Let's face it. Walter, I believe you smell wrong, brother. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I'm not in love with the... I've got plays. Don't get me wrong. I like games, but nothing so far has ranked... Well, I can't say that. There's actually one game that for sure rates in my system top play. But the eye test. And I do take that into account. That's what's holding me back. I feel like the line's just a little bit too steep. But we'll see. I got more work to do on that one. No, Joe Burrow played fantastic last night. Everybody's been emailing me like that, like I'm a Joe Burrow hater, like I'm not giving him credit. Oh, I'm giving him credit. I want to see it for more than one season. Anybody can have a great season, and things can line up, and you can be portrayed better than you really are. Last night, Joe Burrow was the MVP, for sure. Walter just said he has an NFL cannon. No doubt about it. We don't know what his NFL mentality is going to be. We don't know what's going to happen when he gets there and has to play with the best in the world. But if he stays healthy, here's the thing. Joe Burrow is not going to go into a team that he has to adapt to. It's going to have to be a team like LSU that will adapt to Joe Burrow. And if he does, I think he'll be very successful, obviously, saying that he stays healthy. And Cincinnati should be the first team, if any, to be willing to do whatever it takes to win. If they had to build a team around their punter, they should. Yeah, and somebody tried to call me out, telling me how I need to give Deshaun Watson credit for what he did on Sunday. Deshaun Watson didn't do shit. He made one good pass, and that put an asterisk by that because DeAndre Hopkins basically caught it without even seeing it. And I'm sorry, the way he threw it was nothing spectacular. Any quarterback in the league could have thrown the ball. Deshaun did nothing. He handed the ball off. Special teams and defense got him up 24-0. And you can tell he's not a leader. Because guess what? Patrick Mahomes called that first time out. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, those guys would have said, no. We're going for it on 4th and centimeters. We're going to go up by 4 touchdowns. Fuck a field goal. But Deshaun just kicks back, and he just, don't get me started on him. Don't get me started on him. And he's out there talking, who's this guy? Man, if you didn't play ball with the best receivers in football, and have the most arrogant media hogging coach there ever was, nobody would know who you are either, brother. Could have thrown 6. Should have thrown 6. And ran for a touchdown as well. I mean, the run wasn't the most spectacular thing I've ever seen, but it doesn't matter. Fact of the matter is he did it. I've never seen a quarterback go into a championship game other than Tom Brady and have as close to quote-unquote perfection as Joe Burrow did last night. But again, I think if it were Ohio State and LSU playing, we would have been talking about a completely different ballgame. Not saying LSU wouldn't have won. I'm not saying that Joe Burrow wouldn't have been perfect, but you would not have seen a 20-point rout. And the score was closer than the game actually was. Clemson had no answers for that team except for that early drive in the third. I truly, truly believe in my heart that LSU kind of had to let them do their thing in the beginning and hope they could stop them because they had to figure out what their game plan was going to be. So they had to, and it hurt them at first. They went down by 10 points. It's down 17-7. But once they figured it out, it was off to the races. Well, you're saying just watch like it would be a surprise if he was an NFL star. With what he just did, he shouldn't be a star. He should be a Hall of Famer in the NFL. I'm just saying don't be surprised if he gets with a team that's too stupid to build around him. Or don't be surprised if he gets rocked and gets hurt and then he's never the same again. Teams don't like building around quarterbacks anymore, not unless they're mobile. What do you mean, Irie? The stats did support Clemson. Every one of them. But again, listen to the video. There was an asterisk beside that because all of their stats have been against nobody. That's why I said I truly, truly believe that LSU is the better team and that LSU should win this game handily, which they did. But the stats, on paper, Clemson has better stats. But Clemson's putting up stats against Wake Forest and Wofford and Syracuse and things like that. LSU's doing it to Bama. See my point? So whose numbers do you think are going to be better? No, I'll never bash Burrow. I will wonder if he's smoking mirrors. I mean, again, here's the thing. What I can't wrap my brain around is you mean to tell me that when this kid came in, Urban Meyer was the guy. In my opinion, the best college coach ever. Not by wins or championships, obviously. You would have to think Nick Saban, Bear Bryant, which Bear Bryant shouldn't even be in the conversation. But I truly believe that Urban Meyer can pluck talent. I mean, he can see it from an airplane. You mean to tell me that he just didn't notice something about Joe Burrow that Ed Orgeron saw? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. So there's either something else underlying that we don't know as to why he couldn't play at Ohio State. but could come down to LSU, which guess what? And in this day and age is just as important and storied of a program as Ohio State is. Look at what Les Miles did for his time at LSU, and the boosters wanted him out. You know why? Because he couldn't bring another championship. Oh, Brennan, you're not telling me anything new. I am the biggest hater of that university, that team, and that coach there ever was. If there's anyone that has preached for the last 6 months about how overrated the team is, it's been me. You'll never, ever, ever have to prove that to me. I'm the one that proves that to people. I said it all year. They've done nothing. They could beat the team by 150, and it's still not impressive. Ari, you don't listen to me very much, do you? You didn't even listen to that video because I even said the eye test, which eye test takes into consideration stuff like that. The eye test alone showed that LSU was by far the superior team. But I'll go ahead and tell you, if you fade stats more than anything else, you lose. Stats don't lie. Unfortunately, they just don't show everything. They're like a bikini. They show a lot, but not the good shit. Yes, they always have been. They've been an overrated program since Danny Ford. Oh, by the numbers, Scott, Clemson was the correct pick. Clemson on the money line was the correct pick by the numbers. Oh, Walter, now I did say that. They won the national championship last year against Alabama. In my eyes, if you are good enough on paper, where like you still have your star quarterback, you still have a offensive and defensive line that can get you there. Basically, it's like, okay, you were the number one team last year when the season ended because you're the champion. Okay? You do that. You come back this coming year. You've got 12 games that you know that you should win. The world knows you should win it. Then I believe that they should have been ranked the number one team in the country until someone beat them. And I think that's the way that it should be. They only have to win 2 games a year, Matt. I'd say that that's the definition of overrated. Let's go back to what we just said. You play Syracuse. You play Wake Forest, which is getting better. But you play Wofford. You play Furman. You play South Carolina State. You play in the easiest conference in Power 5 football. And you are next level talent. You're going to blow through the regular season with second string players. Which means that all you got to do is get past them. And train for 2 games. Truly train. You don't think that they had an easier road to this than Ohio State and LSU and even Oklahoma? Because they did. It's going to be hard to top NHL this year, Walter. It's going to be tough. Yeah, somebody at the Win. I thought it was 60,000 though. Somebody made a really big bet around 6 o'clock. It'd have been 3 o'clock Pacific time yesterday. I just want to see if the Bengals do something stupid and either don't take Burrow or somehow trade this number 1 overall pick away. No, I bet the under 67.5. And I bet 2 live bets or prop bets right before the game started, which I never do. Bet Trevor Lawrence over in his rushing yards, which just barely cashed, and Joe Burrow over 4.5 touchdowns. The under is what I gave out. Oh, speaking of that, let's go ahead and do a recap of yesterday. That's what I played it at, Walter. I don't know what everybody else played it at. I put that in my write-up, though, so everybody would know what I was doing. $550 to win 500 on it. And then I put 500 on each of the prop bets at minus $1.15 a piece. All right. What's up, Keith? All right, so yesterday's recap. College basketball was probably the worst that we did, which was rare, but it was a shit slate of games. Took Loyola Maryland plus 3.5. I don't know what the hell happened to them. I actually watched the first half of that game, and it was sad to watch. Alcorn State plus 3.5. They took care of business pretty easily over Grambling. Alabama A&M, which should have been the easiest play of the day in college. Yeah, they got scorched by a team that had not won a game all year. Who, in my system, is second to last in all of the 353 teams in D1 basketball. So, that happened. NBA, 3 plays last night. Indiana Pacers on the money line, minus 125 winner. We had the Detroit Pistons, minus 3. I don't really know what to say about that. I feel like Detroit, from the, just the stats that I read, it seems like they just went flat at weird times. I had to go back and actually watch. And then the Lakers, minus 13.5. So, a 2-in-1 day there. Obviously, NCAA football, only thing that I released officially was the under 67.5, which cashed. And then NHL dropped the Calgary Flames on the money line plus 105, but we took the St. Louis Blues in regulation, minus a half goal, easy winner. That was a top play. And then the St. Louis Blues on the puck line, minus a goal and a half at plus 115, another easy winner. So, another winning day. Not as profitable as Sunday, but a winning day nonetheless, another top play winner. Is it really? Like the worst, like academically? Yep, they had him shook up for real, Danny. But like I said a couple of minutes ago, you may have not been in here just yet. I think that's the best thing that could have happened to Trevor Lawrence and his future. I really do. I mean, the kid hasn't lost yet. So, like, he doesn't, like, in the face of adversity, like Dabo likes to say, shut the fuck up, Dabo. The kid doesn't even know how to spell adversity. He's never had to deal with it. He's played 29 games as a starter consecutively and hasn't lost one. And he's won a national championship. Yeah. That's for real adversity there. Last night he got shook up. Last night he didn't really know what to do. He was out of sorts. He got his teeth kicked in, for lack of a better term. And I think it was good for him. I really think that it was good for him to come back out, be the Joe Burrow of 2020, when I truly think that Trevor Lawrence may have a brighter future ahead of him in today's NFL. And I think that he'll be the front runner for a Heisman. He'll be the front runner for the number 1 overall pick. And Clemson will be the front runner all year to win the national championship. I think that this loss, knowing how it feels, knowing what it's like, I think that it will prepare him to never make light of a situation. I really think that it's good for him. I really, really think that it's good for him personally. Might not be good for the program, like Dabo, I say, our program. Yeah. I like old Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think you could ever be anything long term without adversity. Matt, I like Coach O. I really do. I really think that he's about as much of a football guy as you could ever be. Oh, you know it. You know it. He was already the most annoying before it. What do you think he's going to do now? Now he's going to start reading Bible verses and, talking about how he's been the team therapist and he's done this and he baptized kids so he made them better and all this stuff. Him and Perry Noble have a special corner in hell waiting on them. I like Trevor Lawrence. I'm sorry. I really wish he'd have gone somewhere else and played for somebody else. I'd love to see Trevor Lawrence transfer to LSU. I don't think that anything in this world could make me happier than for Trevor Lawrence to come out and go, you know what? We played in that game. I got my teeth kicked in. I hate our coach because he's a pile of shit that loves himself too much. And Coach O's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I'm transferring to LSU. Go Tigers. That's what I want to happen. And then I want him to win a national championship, a Heisman, a Super Bowl, a Hall of Fame ring. I want him to have everything. I've never seen a coach be more thankful. And he didn't say it, I'm so thankful for this. He didn't have to. I think he did say how thankful he was for the coaches and the players, but he says that every time. That's all he wants to say. He doesn't want people to come up and interview him. He likes to say, go Tigers. He likes to do that. I think he pokes fun at it, but I think that it would suit him just fine if he never had to do another interview, never had to talk to the media, and it would be like, hey, go talk to my players and coaches because they're the real reason. I'm just happy to be here. You know how the coaches like to say, I was just happy to be a part of it, when really they mean, or at least in Dabo's case, I was happy to take all the credit for it. Coach O actually is just beyond happy. No, because I didn't believe in my gut or my heart that they were better than LSU. That's why I didn't. Listen, I don't give a shit about Dabo when it comes to money. You know how much money I made off of backing Dabo this year? A lot. I didn't back him on the money line because I didn't believe the stats last night. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't believe the stats. But now here's the thing. Had Clemson gone in and beaten just one top 10 team during the regular season last year, and then truly beaten Ohio State, truly beat them, I may have believed the stats enough to at least take the points. But, when you almost get beat by North Carolina, you were outplayed by North Carolina. You were out hustled. You were out. You should have lost to Ohio State. I'm sorry. I can't back the numbers that you manufactured on your resume for beating nobody. You got to prove it a little bit. It was definitely their year. That's one of the things. Sometimes it just is someone's year. And the thing is, it couldn't have been better case for the fact that it was LSU playing in Louisiana. It was a storyline. It really was. And it couldn't the story couldn't have ended better. The story's not over yet. The story is now let him get drafted, let him do that. And then the story kind of ends for that chapter. Then it goes back and it's back to the drawing board as to what the next thing will be for Coach O and that squad. And then Joe Burrow will make his own path. I'll tell you this, there probably will not be any more anticipated first start in the NFL for any quarterback as there will be for Joe Burrow. I don't think that Jameis Winston had it, or Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, maybe Tim Tebow, just because of how great of a human he is. But other than that, this kid, the whole world, love him, hate him, or indifferent, will be watching that game as if their life depended on it. All right, y'all are kind of disappointing me. 35 people in here, only 23 likes. How are we going to do a free premium play with that shit? And I ain't been here in 2 days either. All right, let's do this. I guess it would help if I had this week's. All right, so I redid Sunday night, as I always do, late. I redid my college basketball ratings, teams 1 through 353. Added all the new numbers in there. Added my own little twist on a few of the teams based on things that have happened over the last week. And I've got my new ratings. There's been a lot of movement overall. I think, truth be told, some of my top 25 is going to surprise people. Let's just say that it may ruffle people the wrong way. I think there's going to be a lot of disagreeing about my top 25 in certain places, but I got to go get that list. It's downstairs. So, KG, I talked about that for an entire episode. I'm exhausted about talking about how Trevor doesn't deserve all the credit. That if he wasn't protected like he was, he would still be a nameless person like he was for 3 years. I spent an entire hour talking about that the other day. And most people were just like, he's still amazing. Okay. And no, whoever said, do you think he should sit out? Absolutely not. If he sits out, he won't go number one. He might not even go first round. If he truly sits out. Because again, if he sits out next year, the last thing they have to see of Trevor Lawrence is a loss and going, okay, the kid's played 3 good teams, great teams, whatever you want to call it, in his career. He's lost one of those by like he's lost it by a very wide margin. And that's the last thing we have to see. Maybe he's not all that he's cracked up to be. That's what people would think. It would kill his draft stock. Kill it. I honestly believe if he set out next year, he doesn't even go first round. He plays next year and he leaves healthy, he goes number one. He goes first overall. Can you imagine a team like Cincinnati going out there and getting Burrow this year, figuring out a way to make some trades or basically just forfeit the season, tell Joe Burrow, you're not going to play this year. We're going to let you learn the system that we're doing. We're going to build a system around you to use your arm. We're not going to let you take the field this year. We're going to go out there, lose 16 games, and we're going to figure out a way to get the number 1 overall pick. We're going to get Trevor Lawrence, and we're going to rotate quarterbacks more than any other team in NFL history. Trevor's going to be the mobile guy that can use his arm, and you're going to be the guy that does nothing but use his arm. How insane would that be? To be able to say, we're going to forfeit our draft, all this kind of stuff. We're just going to have to spend some money, make some trades, and we're going to have the 2 biggest up-and-coming superstar quarterbacks. I don't know. What else do you have to lose? It's not like you can make your team any worse to go out there and tank. What do? Say that you lost one more game than you did this year? Burrow's quick. I'll tell you what I was impressed with last night with Burrow, because I knew it was quick. And maybe this, like the few times that I've seen him run, he doesn't seem like he's very agile on his feet. And he's not very, he is quick, but it almost seems like he's not very light on his feet, I should say. But last night, the way he was able to stop and maneuver, that was impressive. To be for a kid that's just not a mobile quarterback. Not saying that he couldn't be. That's just not him. And maybe last night was just like the exception to the rule. Like maybe he's really not that good with his legs as what we saw last night. I mean, we see that all the time. I mean, hell, you can go out there and look at a quarterback like Drew Brees, who's certainly not made his career off of his legs. And there are some days he outdoes the running backs. Those games happen. But he was surprisingly nimble last night. All right, I'm going to get my list and grab a cup of coffee. And then we're going to do a free play, my top 25, and by then, that's who he's been compared the most to, was Andrew Luck. If I had to think of a quarterback that he reminds me the most of, I think he reminds me the most of Drew Brees. The stuff that he likes to throw, the stuff that he's best at throwing, how well he reads defenses. He reads a defense like Tom Brady. He throws the ball like Aaron Rodgers, and he throws the same type like Drew Brees. But I would say, like, if you had to say, okay, who is he most like? pick a Hall of Fame quarterback or a future Hall of Fame quarterback, I'd say he most resembles, in my eyes, Drew Brees. He's got some of the same passing style Russell Wilson does, but Russell Wilson is a mobile guy. He's a mobile guy with great hand-eye coordination. You know why he's got great hand-eye coordination? Because he's an even better baseball player, just like Jameis Winston. Exactly, so maybe he's better. Yeah, can you imagine how bad people have turf toe today on the LSU side? It's probably worse than frostbite. All right, Scott, you run the chat. I'm going to go refill this cup. Let me grab my updated list. Let's do a free play, rankings, and then hopefully by then we should have 20 more likes, and then we'll do a free premium play. And we'll do a little look ahead for the week, and then we'll wrap it up for today and start worrying about tomorrow. So, all right, I'll be right back. All right, dudes. Okay. All right, let's do this. Yep, that 5-star from California, they should land him. The only thing that I think could keep him from truly going there would be if Urban Meyer were to pop up before the year's over and say that he's going to be taking over the reins at Southern Cal. It's easier to keep a California kid in California than it is to get him on the East Coast, especially when you're talking about South Carolina. It's like you really, I mean, you're talking about, it's not like you're talking about being able to offer him anything other than the football program. All right, so let's do this. We need 16 more likes to do the premium play. Let's go ahead and do the top 25. All right, is everybody ready? Let's see how many I know he already signed, but again, that doesn't mean much. Look at how many people are just transferring nowadays. It'd be nothing for him just to say, I'm not going. I'm going to be honest with you. If I was a college quarterback and had proved nothing at that level yet, and you told me you've got Clemson's shoe-in for a national championship win next year, or you can go play for Urban Meyer, who's going to take over a losing program, but he's signed a contract to be there for the duration of your college years, I'm sorry. I'm going with Urban because I'm probably going to win 3 championships in 5 years, even if I got to sit out a year. All right, let's see how many people disagree with what I'm getting ready to say in my top 25. Okay, here's a question, though. Oh, before I go any further, the contest that we ran this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, for whatever you buy, your name's automatically entered in to win that exact same package again for free and have it tacked on. We had a 1-year all-access person win. So somebody bought a 1-year all-access pass and ended up getting another year for free. So congrats to that. We are running that same exact contest through tonight. We had yesterday, because today's Tuesday. So we went through yesterday, and then through today, we're going to be drawing another name. So if you're not on a package and you're thinking about buying one, it'll benefit you more to buy it today versus waiting till tomorrow or Thursday or whenever, because at least you have the opportunity to win something. So before we do this, who does everyone think that my number one team is now in college basketball? Who's my number one team now, going into yesterday. Let's see who the first one to get it is. I do these at the beginning of every week. Appreciate it, John. Yep, I did get it. I'm sorry. I'm just so behind on that stuff. All right, well, Keith Davis didn't fall for it. I was trying to be kind of sneaky there. It is Duke. It is Duke. They are still the number one team. No, Baylor is not my number one team. And no, they are not the number one team. All right, here's my top 25, guys. Duke, number one. Here's where everybody's going to disagree with me, but disagree if you want to. Facts are facts. One game doesn't change the fact that one team is still better than the other. My number one is Duke. My number two is Kansas. My number three, for at least right this very moment, is Baylor. Number four, Michigan State. Number five, Butler. Dayton, number six, which that won't last long. Number 7 is Ohio State. Number 8 is Louisville. Number 9 is Gonzaga. Number 10 is Arizona. Number 11 is West Virginia. 12, Maryland. 13, San Diego State. 15, Florida State. Or 14, Florida State. 15, Seton Hall. 16 is Auburn. 17, Purdue. 18, Iowa. 19, Oregon. 20, Wisconsin. 21, Michigan. 22 is Kentucky. 23 is Colorado. 24 is Villanova. 25 is, this is where people really aren't going to agree with me, LSU. Texas Tech, Wichita State, all these teams that everybody assumes should be in the top 25 are not in my top 25. That's my top 25 rankings, guys, for this week. Obviously, things will change through the course of the week, and then on Sunday night, I'll update it again, so we'll see what happens. Teams that have big games this week, Ohio State has a big one tonight. Duke's got the epitome of a trap game tomorrow. Should they beat Clemson? Or tonight. Yeah, it's tonight. Yes, they should beat them by 1,000. This line is off. But I think that the odds makers know that if there's any quote-unquote trap game, I think it's tonight. A team that shouldn't even be able to hang with Duke for 5 minutes. Coming off of that win in Chapel Hill, coming off of, just that thought process. And I think that because Duke is so freshman heavy, this would be one of those times where that immature freshman mentality could bite you by just thinking that they're better, knowing that they're better, and saying, it's done before it even starts. Sell out at Little John. That place gets loud as shit. And right now, everybody's going to be on campus waiting to see the losers get back. And Dabo probably makes a speech at the game tonight because now he has nothing to talk about for college football, so now he has to go take credit for other people's wins. It's going to be a sellout, Little John, people. It's going to be loud. Probably the loudest environment that Duke has seen thus far this year. Wichita State, no bueno. I had Wichita State on Sunday. I had UConn plus 3.5. UConn outplayed them. UConn should have won the game outright. And I'll tell you this, UConn is not a top 25 team. They are not. They're not a top 50 team. They're getting better. And they will get there. UConn is a storied program. Storied enough to really make a difference and make it fast. But I've got them ranked 79th overall. Wichita State is not what they have been for the past few years. Ohio State's still a great team. A lot of talent. They've shot themselves in the foot. We'll see what happens. And guess what? They're also playing in the Big Ten, which I've said since the beginning of the year. The Big Ten is the conference to beat this year. Oh. Okay. Let's do a free play. Let's do an underdog free play. Let's go to the NHL. I can break this game down if you want me to. The fact is we got two teams that are not very good. One that's a great offensive team, terrible defensively, although they do try. And a team that's just worlds faster than the other. And we got a team that's going in opposite directions. One that's on an incline, one that's on a massive decline. Ottawa, last time I looked, was minus 120 at home. I think Chicago should be favored in this game. At minus 160 is what my system gives me. I like Chicago outright tonight. On the road. There's your free play. Matt, have you watched Purdue this year? Purdue has been a stud of a basketball team. Purdue's been very consistent as well. Don't get me wrong, they've lost some games, but Purdue's been a good team. Purdue was in my top 10 just a few short weeks ago, and they were playing like it. But I told everybody then, I said they're going to lose a couple of games, and they'll be backed out of it. Purdue is a tournament-type team. And the type of team they are, they're bred for a tournament. See, the difference is, we have teams like San Diego State playing really good. San Diego State could very well, what are they, the last undefeated team in basketball now? If not, they're one of the last. At 17-0. They go to the tournament, I bet they're out in the second round. If they make it. No, Gonzaga's never been number one in my system, John. The highest that Gonzaga's been rated in my system this year, I think it's 4. But I don't think San Diego State's a tournament-bred team. Purdue is a team that could go in and have to, play a buy-in game and then make a run. As I think Auburn's a tournament-bred team. I think Iowa's a tournament-bred team. I think teams like West Virginia, Dayton, Butler, Baylor, Gonzaga, San Diego State. Truth be told, even Oregon, I don't think they're tournament-bred this year. Good teams. But I think when it comes down to win-or-go-home situations, I think a lot of these teams have the ability to choke more so than others. Do you know that between teams 15 through 66, there's only about 5 total points that separate them? So, we're talking mere decimal points separate some of these teams. And these rankings are not going off of the fact that I think that Purdue could easily beat. A team that I think could beat Purdue right now would be Indiana. I think that Indiana could today beat Purdue. But if you just look at statistics, Indiana's a 13-3 team, and they're not as good as Purdue. I'm not taking in just wins and losses. Wins and losses is about the last thing that I take into consideration. And there's a reason why so many of my underdogs win. And if you look at rankings, like just the other day, had Manhattan +2. Manhattan was 111 points below the other team. And I had them +2, and they absolutely destroyed them. You also got to take into account, I look at the next 3 games on the schedule for every one of these teams. So, like if I look at Duke and I say, okay, Duke's still number 1, but Kansas, for instance, is eating them up. But Kansas has to play 3 very respectable teams next, and Duke gets to play Clemson and 2, shit shows. Well, then what's the likelihood of Duke going 3-0 in the next 3 and Kansas dropping 1-2 games? And I look at it to say, okay, the stats are going to favor them going forward, not just right here and now. Like, I've got Butler ranked where they're at. They won't be there for long. Dayton won't be where they're at for long. I don't think Baylor will be where they're at for long. I don't think West Virginia will be there for the duration of it. I think Ohio State will move up before they go back. I don't think San Diego State will last forever. I don't think Florida State will last forever. I don't think Iowa will last forever. But I got to look at what we've got coming up in the right here and now. Hey, hold on. So there's a free play for you, as well as my top 25. Underdog free play. We need 11 more likes. And hold on, while we get those, give me 30 seconds. I got to run downstairs and grab my charger. All right. So, we need 9 more likes, guys. The mail lady just came by when I went downstairs. She dropped off my new reading material, which I get something like this about every other day. Street and Smiths is now sending out their baseball stuff for the season. She asked me, she goes, "You must really like baseball." I said, "Yes, ma'am, I do." "Why do you say that?" She goes, "Because," she said, "I used to work for Barnes & Noble, driving a truck, having to deliver magazines and such." She said, "You get more baseball magazines and books and that more than a place like that does." I said, "Well, I like it." And she said, "Do you play or something?" I said, "No, ma'am, not anymore." I said, "I'm just the greatest MLB handicapper there is." And I winked at her, just kind of being a shit. And she goes, "Well, you don't look handicapped." I said, "Neither do you, ma'am. Neither do you. Have a wonderful day." She didn't understand that, so she just drove off. All right. So let's see why you guys are getting me the rest of those likes there. Let's talk about two games that I think people are going to be interested in tonight and what I like about them, what I dislike about them. There's 2 games in particular in the NBA tonight that the public is going to be all over, and for good reason. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but I think there's things that need to be looked at and taken into consideration before you just blindly, just take it. The Bucks versus the Knicks. Bucks laying 16.5. Per my system, the way that I ranked it, I think that the line should have come out minus 19. To see a line like 19 is extremely rare in the NBA. I think the last time I saw a spread that high, it was exactly 19. And it was 3-4 years ago, right there after I think Golden State was chasing their second championship. They were on pace for the greatest season in history to outdo the 96 Bulls, and they were playing the Brooklyn Nets when Brooklyn was the worst team in basketball. So it's rare to see something that high. But truth be told, based on the numbers, minus 19 is where the accurate line should be. The Bucks are healthy enough to cover it, absolutely. Can Giannis absolutely go off tonight? Yes. Are they going up against a Knicks team that has any chance? No, not in my opinion. But as I've said for the past 3 weeks, the Knicks are not just fade material anymore. If there's any team that poses underdog value at this point in time, it's the Knicks. Not necessarily this game, I'm just talking about in general. Because you're going to get, until they go out there and truly start bagging wins together in bunches against good teams, or until they sign that guy, that face of the team, whatever, kind of like your LeBron and AD for LA, your Kyrie for Brooklyn, things like that, they're always going to be the dog, home or away, especially when you're playing against undoubtedly the most dominant team in the NBA. Not the best team, the most dominant, the one that's most likely to wipe the floor with you. But 16.5 points in the NBA is a lot, especially considering that if I was an NBA coach, I don't believe in resting players. I don't believe in managing their minutes. I don't believe in having off days. I don't believe in any of that. But I do believe that if you're up by 20 with 5 minutes to go, maybe let your star guy rest and get just an extra couple of minutes. Don't make him play all 40 minutes, or you know what I mean by that. Nobody's going to play all 60 minutes, but you get what I'm saying. But, or excuse me, it's not 60 anymore. It's 48. I believe in that. But in today's world, in today's NBA's world, where they are going to rest players, they are going to sit players, they are going to watch their time, Giannis might be the most, or what should be the most protected player. So, Irie, be careful with that, what you just said. Sidney Crosby is back, but you may want to see how he does for a game or two. Can't go off of what he did, just overall in his career, because Sidney Crosby also hasn't been one to sit out a lot of his career. The Bucks should cover it. There's no stat in the world you're going to throw at me to statistically make me think the Knicks should cover this game. But knowing how the NBA works, knowing how they, time manage players like they do, knowing how teams let their foot off of the gas, then if there's any game tonight that a team would have a chance to cover a big spread, I think it would be the Knicks there. Now, that's not saying I'm doing that. I may very well take the Bucks tonight because per my percentages, it meets the criteria. But again, I also put my own thoughts into this outside of just the numbers. Another game that I want people to look at and think before you blindly bet it. I think that there's value in that, Matt. The only thing that I don't like about that is the point that I made about the Blackhawks not having a great defense. They're going up against a team that offensively, I think the Blackhawks are on another level. As I think the Blackhawks offensively are better than 3/4 of the NHL. Defensively, they're bottom quarter of the NHL. And they're on the road. And they're playing a team that is desperate for a win. So, I think that I said that I thought the Blackhawks should be favored. I'll stand by that till the end of time in this game. But being that you're getting plus money anyway, I think that the better overall true value from a winning standpoint would be to take the Blackhawks just outright, allow there to be overtime if need be, because they set up offensive plays better than anybody in the NHL. And as far as shootouts goes, I'll trust Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane over any team in the world. So I think that if it goes into overtime or into a shootout, I think that the advantage the Blackhawks have just goes up tremendously. So, oh, wow. Well, minus 105? Ugh. I'm getting, hold on. I was getting plus 111 when I looked. Now, it may have changed. I think the value is on the Blackhawks throughout the whole game. Yes, there's going to be value taking them in 60 minutes because I think they beat them in 60 minutes. But there's not – what you're going to get in 60 minutes isn't enough of value to make me take overtime and shootouts out of it. Because if it does go to that, I think that the Blackhawks are a shoo-in. Versus if it goes to that and you have it in 60 minutes, you lost. All right, another team, Cavaliers-Clippers. Clippers are another one of the teams like the Lakers that just take their foot off the gas in the fourth. They're not a team that has proven overall that they can hang for 4 quarters and truly put teams away that they should. Cavaliers is one of those teams. If the Cavaliers were perfectly rested, then I don't think that this line would be over 11. What is it right now? Minus 15? Let me see what my notes said when I did this early this morning, where the line should actually be. Because again, per my percentages, the Clippers, they make the cut. This could be a big play. But they've proven that they cannot put teams away and keep big leads. But on the flip side of that, Cleveland's coming off of a back-to-back. Now, they didn't have to travel after the game last night. They got to stay right where they were at. They're going to play in the same arena, but it doesn't matter. They're playing on a back-to-back, and they're playing against another top NBA team. So could the Clippers win this by 15? Hell, the Clippers should win it by just as much as the Lakers beat them last night. What was it? 29 points? The true line for this Clippers game should be minus 13.5. But I understand the 15. I don't necessarily disagree with what the odds makers are doing here because they obviously want to have the advantage. They know they're going to take action on the Clippers, more action than they're going to take on the Cavs, and they're going to do it even if the line was at 20. But are the Clippers going to put them away? If there's any night tonight they should put anybody away, it would be a team that just got their ass kicked that's had 0 rest. And is the road team. So we'll see. Just look at those two things before you blindly bet them. That's what everybody said about the Maple Leafs on Sunday, and they got their ass kicked. I've got my hockey all but decided for tonight. I just want skate-around reports, and I want official lineup cards. That's it. Just so I can 100% make them official and make my bets. And as of right now, and there's 2 games I haven't even broke down yet. I've got 6 total games that have been circled on the card tonight. I've never released 6 NHL games in a day. I'm not saying that I will release 6 tonight, but there's 6 that, without me taking my own non-numbers thoughts into it, that actually make the cut. Like right now, I gave you the Blackhawks as a dog. They should have came out favored from the jump. There is 1, 2, 3 other teams right now that are underdogs that, in my opinion, should be favored. Maybe not as much of a, as a swing the other way like the Blackhawks, but should be favored nonetheless. So tonight, I'm excited about the NHL. I'm really excited about the NHL. As far as high spreads go in college basketball tonight, nothing really excites me. I tell you the one that should be the biggest route, truth be told, should be Nevada. But again, Nevada hasn't done anything to overly impress me this year. But, against Wyoming at home, I mean, hell, Wyoming has to take a freaking 2-hour bus ride just to get to the airport in Laramie. Just to hop on a plane and, to come into Nevada. Nevada should win this game by 40. But Nevada's, again, one of them teams where rookie mistakes. Yeah, I'm hearing a couple people say their books have Blackhawks at minus 105. I'm still not seeing them at minus 105. William Hill still got them at plus 105, so they're still a very slim favorite. And that jumped to basically even money at plus 100 a minute ago, but now it's back at 105. So somebody just put money, either William Hill just changed it or there was a nice big wager that just came in on Ottawa. But PointsBet, I mean, I like using PointsBet. I've got a runner that, I mean, I have a PointsBet account. I've got a runner that will use them for me. But, can't use PointsBet unless you're in the state of New Jersey. So I can't really go off of what they have. That's what I had them at a minute ago, Scott, but I've got it back up to plus 105 now. That's why I'm saying they must have just taken in some money on Ottawa, or that's just the books trying to get money on Ottawa by favoring them. Somebody asked me, what do I think about Texas Tech tonight? All right, well, I can give you two answers for that. My thoughts on the game are Texas Tech does not know how to take care of big-time situations. They've proven that. They've proven it at home this year. They've proven it on the road this year. Is Texas Tech the better team? Yes, that's not in question. Kansas State, in my opinion, isn't on the same level as Texas Tech by any means. But I'm telling you this, teams like Kansas State, this right here, being that Texas win a game like this, just to say they won against a ranked team, that way it gives the team hope. It gives them motivation. It gives them something to build off of, to motivate themselves off of. K-State is not going to be an easy win for Texas Tech, in my opinion. Should it be? Yeah. I mean, truth be told, I think just based off of the two differences in the teams, the line should be 6. You take into account that Kansas State's at home, and you take into account what they've done over the past 2 weeks and what they've got on deck for the next week, week and a half, I've got Texas Tech minus 2 instead of 3.5. Texas Tech should take care of business, but Texas Tech should have taken care of business multiple times this year where they haven't. Texas Tech, in my opinion, is not very backable, especially in conference on the road. I would say that would be a game that I would lay off more than likely. I don't have a play in it. I don't foresee myself to have a play in it. If I had a gun to my head right now and I had to play it, I'd take K-State on the money line just to do it. But there's no value in that game to make me take it one way or the other. No, I agree with you, Matt. Every loss they have taken is to good teams, but when they've played them, at least up until, what's the last team they got beat by? Because the first couple losses they took this year that were to good teams, they were better than. And they should have absolutely destroyed them underneath, and they got destroyed. One of those being at home. That's what I'm saying. Tonight you're in conference against a team that has nothing to lose by losing this game, but the world to gain by winning it. Texas Tech has something on the line, and this year they haven't proven that when it really, really matters that they can come through and be clutch like they were last year. Baylor, good team. Who else have they lost to? They've lost to Huggins, which we had a play in that game. We had WVU in that game. But again, two teams that I think are a little bit overvalued. Are they, is Texas Tech the better team than West Virginia? No, but a lot of that's due to coaching. But if you actually match up player for player, if Texas Tech could get their head out of their ass a lot of the time, I believe that if you match up position for position and you play man-to-man all night, no zone, that Texas Tech's better than West Virginia. But West Virginia's been playing worlds better than Texas Tech. Baylor been playing better than both of them, but again, I think West Virginia and Baylor are in for upsets that will back them off and slap them back to reality. Texas Tech's got a lot of room to improve. We'll see if they do. It's got to start with taking down a team like K-State. And yeah, that was a big win for them, Louisville. But I'll tell you this. Lou, believe it or not, so I actually talked to Kyle last week, Thursday, I think. He had texted me, and I called him a little while after that, talked to him that night, and one of his videos got reported for something. And he knows who it is. He's got the proof of who reported it, so he's handling that issue, or the company is handling it. But he got a strike just like I had a few months back, and he got barred from doing videos or content for 7 days, I think. So he's been doing it. He's still been doing his live show every day. You just got to go to cappersdirect.com to watch it. He'll be back. He ain't going nowhere. This is out of his control. It's happened to me twice. It has happened to me twice. And what was funny is I got warned by YouTube if it happened again that was done, but then we figured out who it was and why. So they actually removed the strikes from me. So now the person who thought they were going to get me kicked off YouTube cannot. Apparently that person's reported me 2 times since then, and it hasn't even gone through because it's just they're doing it just to be spiteful. I'm not actually doing anything wrong. I mean, for Danny, for nothing, truthfully, but I think that the wording of it was harmful content or something. Obviously, there wasn't any, but it is what it is, I guess. Alex Cora sucks. No, he's been reported, just like I got reported a few months back. They report your account or your videos saying that you're doing something wrong, and then you get flagged by YouTube and disciplined by basically being put in timeout. I hope he does. He sucks. He's the worst manager in baseball. He does nothing but sit on an iPad all the time. He's never made one decision that's helped or hurt that team. He does nothing. He does absolutely nothing. Every time I talk about managers in this day and age not being managers, they're just a body standing there with a title that they don't know how to truly manage the game, that they let a stat sheet do it or an iPad do it. He is the poster child for that. I saw him at the winter meetings. He's a fucking goober. That dude shouldn't be allowed to manage a minor league team. Irie, if you play Duke Moneyline, I'm blocking you from this channel. Duke money line. I'm going to lay 700 to do that. Should it be an easy winner? Yeah, but I'll tell you this. You bet them on the money line, I bet you lose. I bet Clemson pulls off the biggest miracle ever. So just a reminder, guys, the contest we're running does end tonight. So if you want your name entered in to win basically the buy one, get one free, it only goes through today. So if you buy something tomorrow, your name's not entered is what I'm saying. Somebody wants me to bring back the 5 for 50, but I told myself that was a one-time only thing. Duke money line at William Hill right now, I'm showing minus 700. The numbers as of like 3 o'clock Vegas time yesterday, I think they said they had taken in a little over 60 million on the game alone, just on the Vegas Strip. And I mean, they had wrote thousands of tickets. I mean, you got to think when you factor in how many books are outside of Vegas now, plus offshore, plus underground. I mean, you could be talking about hundreds of millions. I mean, I think there was probably more money on that game last night than in last year's Super Bowl. Ari, I wouldn't lay minus 700 for anything in the world. I don't care if the Dodgers were going to play, a team full of blind T-ballers. I would never lay that. Oh, LSU was more tickets. Money, I still think LSU had it by a pretty significant margin, but there was a lot of money coming in on Clemson last minute. Big money. So that I couldn't really tell you and give you an honest answer. But I find it hard to think that more money was taken in favor of Clemson. LSU just, again, it was their year. It was just the year for them to do it. Now, tickets, LSU by a lot. Like 70-something% of the tickets were written on LSU. Action Sports Network was saying 81% yesterday. But again, they are not giving real information. Yes, sure, I do fancy them, but I don't love it. Again, to be a premium play, to even be considered to be a premium play, it has to meet 75% or higher in my system. Now, just doing line differentials of what I think the line should be versus what it is, I've got the line should be 3 points higher, but in my system it rates 74.4%. So guess who is not going to be playing the Mavericks Golden State game tonight? This guy. No, I'm not. I've done it before. It's just, I'll be honest with you. For what it costs for processing and what I pay my IT people, internet security people, all that, it's truthfully not worth me doing 7 days for $99. But I like keeping it at that round $100 figure because that's what gets people interested to come instead of just buying a day or something like that. At least they can see what we're all about in a week. That's still not giving you the best example. You need to be on for at least a month. But a week's where I think people should start. So that way you can at least see how we work. So, yeah, I'm not going to go any less than $100 for the week. Now, I did do a $50 week back before the year ended. And to be honest with you, I had somebody go, "You're still too high." I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here. Like, you can't please anybody anymore. All right. Y'all better come up with 4 likes somewhere. I'm gone. Y'all want a free premium play? I got to have the 50. Because last 2 times that I said I was going to require that, I didn't because I had to go. I'm doing it today. I tell you what, let me look at something here while y'all are doing that. Ooh, one more. And what y'all need to tell me is, so we can do one of 2 things. I've already given out a hockey play. I've got another one on here that I can give you. Premium play. Or I've got an underdog play in college basketball, which I don't know anybody giving out the underdogs that I've been giving out lately and winning them day in and day out. I've got an underdog that I locked in a couple of minutes ago. A home dog. And that's in college basketball. You guys choose which one you want. All right, here we go. We're at 53 now. Let me see if there's been any line movement on either one of these. Oh, there has. I like that. I like that as well. Let me double check this hockey line. See what it's going to. All right. I'll give you whichever one you want. Either one. All right. Let's see. Danny says college ball. Frankie Diamond says college ball. Chuck just says premium. They're both premium. Yeah, but I also gave 3 other premiums out in that, so in that same show. Virginia Tech was a winner. That actually wasn't a premium because I went live after that game. No, we gave it out right before the game started. What was it? Arkansas, gave that out. What else? LA Tech money line premium. Something else too. I'm not doing any of those money lines, Ira. Why would you? Why are you going to go pick those high spreads and do money lines? I'm not a degenerate gambler. I do this to make a living. All right. It looks like everybody's kind of given the consensus of college basketball, which is surprising. I mean, even though college basketball has been, I don't know of anybody in the industry that's coming within 20% of what I'm doing in college basketball this year, but just how unreal crazy good NHL's been this year. I'm surprised that people aren't just asking for NHL. But oh well, I don't care. Either way. Oh, and by the way, anybody that wants on the NHL season that I've got for $300 right now, you've got till midnight to get it. It goes back up to $700 at midnight, and that's it. It will stay there. It's worth $700 a week. I should start charging people. I should have charged $5,000 for this NHL season for what we've just done thus far. And any one of my NHL clients in here, or 1 year that get them, whatever, will tell you that. All right, let's do it. Here's the home dog that I like tonight. Bowling Green, Western Michigan. Western Michigan catching 4. I like them as a home dog. Bowling Green at home is one of the better teams in the country. They know how to win at home. They know how to... How do I want to word this? They gel at home. They play as a team at home. On the road, if you watch them, you tend to see 1 to 2 players kind of be like their playmakers on the road. That's fine. If that's what you got to do to win games, so be it. Or try to win games. But on the road or at home, you see all 5 guys that are on the court at any given time not only being a part of the action, they are all the same. You're always going to have one guy that stands out in every game, but they're all making a difference. Every one of them. Even the 3 people that they rotate out all come in and contribute to winning. We were there when Bowling Green was upset at home. We've made a lot of money on Bowling Green this year. We backed them early. We've started to fade them when needed to. Bowling Green, playing games involving Bowling Green have been very profitable to us this year. Is Bowling Green a better team than Western Michigan? Yes. But I think that they are truthfully, just looking at stats on paper, a 3-point better team. But I'll tell you this. That's not taking into account home court. You take into consideration home court, I truly believe, and my system backs this up, this game should be a pick'em. But you're going to give me a pick'em on paper. I like the home team initially always. Your bigs are going to be your difference makers in this game. I think that Western Michigan at home will hold a slight advantage, and I do think that Western Michigan is going to force them to try to go inside. They play really good perimeter defense at home, and if they can keep that up tonight and they're successful at it, Bowling Green's going to have to go inside. Stats on paper say that they're better on the inside, but if you actually look at the success rate of Western Michigan underneath versus the failure rate and what they fell at underneath for Bowling Green, Western Michigan again holds a slight edge. So again, it's not by much, but I think we could be looking at, because of that, Western Michigan should be laying a point or two. And because of that, I got to go Western Michigan at home. But again, they're going to have to play good perimeter defense, and they're going to have to be strong on the inside. Every other thing is kind of evenly matched versus home and away, how we're ranking everything. But there's 2 categories where there's a very slim advantage that Western Michigan holds tonight in a game that I think should be a pick'em anyway. You're going to give me 4 points to a game that I think should be a pick'em? I'll take a home dog +4 all day long in a game that, if I had to guess the score, I say Western Michigan wins by 3 outright. Tim, that's really up to you, man. It really depends on what you like to play, Tim. If you like the higher volume stuff, I would say that getting a month would probably do you better because you get the other sports. If you would rather play a little bit lower volume, but still get, because we do play a lot of top plays in hockey. It's not like NBA where they're few and far between. Then I would say NHL because obviously that'll take you all the way through the Stanley Cup. It's really up to you, man. It really depends on what you like. I tell you what you need to do, Tim. I'm going to do something for you because you've been with me a long time. Send me an email. Don't buy anything yet. Send me an email. I'm going to do something for you or make you an offer on something if you want to do it, and we'll go from there. And if you don't want it, that's fine. Then you can just choose whatever you like and go from there. If NHL is definitely a thought of yours, then you need to email me sooner rather than later so you can try to do something today before it goes back up. But I'll make you an offer that I think will kind of give you the best of both worlds per se. It'll make more sense once you email me. But before you make a final decision, shoot me an email. So there's you a college basketball play. I've given you a play on the NHL. I've told you about 2 games that I like in the NBA, but if you are going to bet these games and you are not on you don't get my plays, you're not on my service, then obviously you won't know if I lock in either of those bets. So I want you to just think about those things before you just blindly wager the favorite. So, but if you are getting my plays, then don't worry about it. Just wait till I send the plays out or post them and send you the email, and then you just go play that. Takes all the guesswork out of it. Yeah, my boy. I love a good salesman, don't you? All right, so we went live a lot longer than I thought we would. I got work to do. I've actually got to run to my office and finish up the rest of the day. So if you have sent me an email today, I'll get back to you once I get there and get these plays posted. Tar Heel Tim, send me an email, and we'll see what we can do for you there. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. May actually go live a few minutes early tomorrow just because I have to be done no later than 12:30. Plays will be out normal time. Let's go have another winning day, another big day, another top play winner. You know the routine. Let's go do the damn thing. No, it's not Bowling Green. Western Michigan. +4. I've looked into that game. I've got some notes actually right here beside it. I think the line's a little bit inflated, but it's not that far off. I've got it at -2, Ball State. This could be an upset game for them. It could be a little bit of a trap game per se, but statistically, position for position, counting every player that they rotate in and out, plus their normal starting 5, plus their statistics on the road for the season versus the home of Eastern Michigan, Ball State should be the favorite. I mean, the line's fairly accurate. So, not saying that you're not right and that they couldn't win and that it's very well possible, but there's no value in the wager itself. So, you guys can sprinkle some on the money line if you want. I don't think that's a terrible bet. That's certainly not a premium. The premium is to take the 4 points, but I may myself even sprinkle just, like a quarter premium play or a half premium play on the money line, just depending on how I'm going to watch the money line. I mean, we got a while before this game starts, so I'm going to watch it, see how much I can get out of it. All right, so everybody, congrats to the LSU Tigers and Joe Burrow and Ed Orgeron on their national championship victory. Dabo, there's a special place in hell for you, sir. So, congrats to them. They deserved it. Amazing season. Good game overall. Next season will be here before you know it. But the most important thing is that we still have a lot of hockey left. We still have a lot of basketball left. And baseball will be here very, very, very shortly. So, that concludes today's show. We'll be back tomorrow. Love you all. And go Tigers.